liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
You are tapped in, so let's get right to it. So there's this talk or discussions are going around that Blacks and Mexicans / Latinos do not get along. There's no respect, and there's a lot of racism from Mexicans / Latinos towards Blacks. That for a lot of us, Black people, those who are melanated, seems to be the truth and or experience. Now, on the same hand, Latinos or Mexicans also say that there's racism from Blacks against them. So it goes both ways. Uh, Most of the discussions we hear are, why is this happening? Why are we so separated when we should be unified? Well, the truth of the matter is we've actually never been unified, to tell the truth. There may have been a time or two in history where Blacks actually marched with or helped to support a cause that Mexicans or Latinos had in this country. So we supported that cause, and it seems though as a matter of um, as a result, there had seemed to be in some backstabbing or some underhandedness, or if, for instance, Mexicans or Latinos gain some type of progress, or that they progress in some form of fashion, it was said, or it has been said, that the idea or the mindset in terms of unity changed. They begin to look down upon those who helped or assisted them. And history also shows that, no matter how you want to paint it, you go back in history in Mexico where Blacks actually helped Mexicans to gain their independence from the French and others. They were in kind, they were rewarded with racism, erasure, and things of that nature. So yeah, there's a history behind the disunity between Blacks and Mexicans and or Latinos. This is nothing new. We hear a lot in the community about, well, not a lot, but it's been said should be some type of strategic alliance with the Mexicans or Latinos. But a lot of Blacks think that, that's going to set you up for failure. There'll be a lot of backstabbing, and let's be honest, both sides don't trust the other. I recall a story. I just saw some content where a young guy said when he got here to this country from Mexico, the first thing he was told was not to trust Blacks. Don't fuck with them. Don't trust them. They'll get you. That was what he was told, Then there are stories of Black men and women being incarcerated, and those experiences do not go well at all. Now, while all this exists, why? It could be a mindset. It's been said also that in respect to Mexicans and Latinos, it's their Spanish blood that makes them act this way. They're acting like their forefathers, the racism, the discrimination, things of that nature. In terms of Blacks, why do we act that way towards it? Probably could be because, we know where they come from. Their bloodlines is, it's European bloodlines, or there is a European bloodline connection between with Mexicans and or Latinos. Now, for in any respect, the fact of the matter is that, there's no trust, there's no unity and or loyalty amongst the two ethnicities. All right, that's a fact. When we hear Mexicans here in this country say, "Oh man, the Blacks are tripping," we don't got nothing against them, but we continuously see behaviors and attitudes towards Black that says different, that contradicts what's being said, then that's a problem. That is a problem. Now, couple that with the fact that when you talk to, let's say, Afro-Mexicans, they'll tell you stories of their experiences in Mexico with their own people. But these experiences that they have to suffer or go through is only because of their melanated complexion. Some might want to argue against that, but that's from an Afro-Mexican. All right. And just for some content, some context, Black people in Mexico, Afro-Mexicans, and Black immigrants frequently experience distinct, systematic, and social discrimination, often characterized by erasure, racial profiling, and marginalization. All right. Now, despite being recognized as an ethnic group in 2019, all right, they often face racism by authorities, challenges in accessing public services, and lower socioeconomic opportunities. So this is learned behavior. This is learned behavior, and it seems that when we're talking about Mexico specifically, this is a part of that culture. And as immigrants from Mexico to the United States, they brought that culture with them. So it's not far-fetched for Blacks to say, hey, man, we see you guys and we think that, yeah, you got issues with us because we're Black. That would be a valid statement from a lot of Blacks. And especially when we know and understand that Afro-Mexicans go through this thing, even to this day in Mexico. So those who come from Mexico, they come with that mindset. And this is what Blacks are saying, but there are other key aspects of treatment and discrimination of Afro-Mexicans that I can go on and talk about in Mexico, but, it's neither here nor there in that respect. We're talking about what's going on here. And the problem is, again, that racism is brought across the border into the cities where Blacks have been for the longest time since this country was, way before it was a country, so that experience or that behavior by Mexicans is displayed. We see it all the time, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, where Mexicans would speak Spanish, not realizing more and more Blacks are learning Spanish, and they understood every word that was being said. It's that aspect also of racism that Blacks recognize. It's every day. It's every day. So, I just wanted to tap on or touch on this subject because I see that there's a lot of conversations and discussions going on about this. And it's as if now the Mexicans are trying to, or is attempting to have Blacks, feel guilty about something. And I don't understand why that is, why that would be. I have a clip. I want to bring this clip in. And this clip is from mostly Mexicans or Latinos talking about, hey, man, Blacks are tripping. They're trying to start a war, But all of this actually came into play. All this, Blacks are tripping because Blacks didn't go up to bat when Donald Trump, Border Patrol, and ICE began to do their, the deportations. Blacks said, no, so that's you guys' fight, and we're going to sit back and watch this. Now, that attitude, a lot of you have to understand, has been cultivating over the years and decades in terms of the relationships between Blacks and Mexicans, or Blacks and or Latinos here, in this country, but more so in Los Angeles. All right. So way before that incident happened, the immigration issue with a lot of, illegals or, immigrants from other, from South America, this thing had been going on. It had been taking place. Blacks have been taking notice of this for a long time. It was way before, again, Mexicans accusing Blacks of not helping them, when a lot of Blacks or have for the longest time said, oh, Mexicans don't fuck with Blacks. They don't like us. They don't respect us. They're disrespectful. All the phrases they use, all these things, to describe or to be disrespectful to Blacks with, they use them. So, this is nothing new to us. We just figured, I think that Blacks figured, okay, hey, if this is how you're going to treat us, then, hey, man, go handle your business. Normally, we would support anybody that's being oppressed. It's just our nature. But by the same token, we recognize when there's no appreciation for who we are and what we've been through. You had a couple of what you call Southsiders, Chicanos, a few weeks back on a podcast talking about damn giving blacks reparations. Oh, hell no, we got to stop that, Don't give them nothing till we get ours first. There are things like that that play into the sentiment, the mindset of black men and women when it comes to Mexicans and or Latinos in terms of how they speak about us. Now what would make any Southsider or Chicano feels like they should have reparations before blacks? This is a question we ask. How could they fix their mouths to say such a thing? Is it because, okay, we have different aspects or different truths about history and lineage? Who was here first? Could be. But, to assist me, I have a clip I want to bring into play. And as a result of that, this clip, hopefully, any thoughts you guys have, you'll drop them in the comments and let's chop it up. Let's have that discussion. I don't mind at all. This clip is courtesy of Profess, okay? So let's drop this and tell me what you think.
Black Americans are trying to start a race war with Latinos right now because of this Ashley Gonzalez thing saying that all Latinos are the same. And Latinos are now starting.
And Ashley Gonzalez, by the way, was just one of many. The thing about her is that she's probably one of the few who are in a position of authority, because there are a lot of Mexicans who do the same exact thing as Ashley Gonzalez, who are police officers. That's just in Texas. We're talking about here in Los Angeles. Now, you can ask any black in terms of interacting or having interactions with Mexican police officers, what that experience is like. They'll let you know. Any black that been to prison or at a county jail, just on the streets. What is the experience like when having to interact with Mexican or Latino law enforcement? A lot of them would tell you it's no different than that of Ashley Gonzalez. Same exact attitude, mentality.
Starting to cut back because now they're starting to make videos, talking about how, some black people, mistreat Hispanics or Latinos or are racist towards them. And they're starting to respond by showing them like, look, this is what your people do to mine.
Wait, I'm confused. I mean, maybe you guys had a conversation that I wasn't a part of, but I didn't know the black community.
But see, again, that's another thing, appropriation or thinking that or feeling or speaking in terms of entitlement. There's no reason whatsoever for blacks to tell Mexicans or anybody else what they're thinking or what they're doing. That's not mandatory, And so when we hear statements like that, we're like, what the, how dare you, It's as though we can't do nothing without checking in first. Again, there's another thing, especially here in LA, all this, this chatter about, well, the Mexicans run LA, the Mexican essays run over who? Over who? And a lot of brothers and sisters resent that, but we hold it in. We keep it to ourselves, but there that is. It exists.
Turned against us. But thank you. Now I understand that the black community is not our ally and that they're all assuming, guys, that us as Mexicans, we all voted for Trump. They're assuming that we're all racist and they're assuming that we all hate black people. They have stereotyped us and put us into a category. So now they hate us.
Right quick. And just to clarify, okay, let's say all blacks don't look at all Mexicans as racist. But however, one thing we've learned, you guys, you could be totally against another Mexican, especially when they're wrong, but you won't speak against it. You may not involve yourself in it. You'll walk away, but you won't check them. You won't check them. So that gives the impression. It gives the impression, if you have nothing to say, if you won't correct it, then you condone it.
Tension between the Black and Latino community needs to stop. And we need to be the generation to stop it.
The real unspoken tension between the Black and Latino communities.
Blacks against Latinos, Latinos against Blacks. We're supposed to be together.
Or maybe
Blacks was never meant to look for allies. Just remember who we are.
Together,
yes, us.
we form Voltron.
Right.
And we outnumber everybody else.
Every Black person needs to work together because everybody else is working together against us.
It's not, we shouldn't be against each other. We should be against the problem.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck. Like, what is with all this racist shit on TikTok, bro? Like, I've literally gotten restrictions. I've gotten flagged for having a tank top on, bro. I just seen somebody up here talking about, if you call me a colonizer, then I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Then I'm scrolling. I'm like, and then I saw this other Mexican guy, or I don't know if he was Mexican, but this Latino guy saying that Black people were trying to start a race war for responding to everybody in the goddamn world being racist and prejudiced.
So why are many Latinos?
Right quick. That's what we're saying. It's like, it's as though people are saying to us, we don't know what we're seeing. You know, don't believe our lying eyes. You know, don't trust, you know, ourselves when we know as a frequency, a vibration when someone's racist towards us. Oh, don't trust it. Don't trust your instincts. You know, don't trust your experiences. You know, don't trust what we're hearing, what we're seeing. Yeah.
Most prejudiced against Afro-Latinos and Black people?
Our racial biases, they start back home. They start in our own countries, in our own islands. We just bring it here with us.
I just said that. And this is what a lot of you guys, Mexicans / Latinos, will not admit. You were like that before you got here. You got here and you saw that everyone else that was already here felt this way about us to begin with. And it's as though a lot of us think that, okay, that's what you see. Okay, you're going in the direction the wind is blowing. But again, most of you came here like that. And even over there, the wind was blowing that way.
We taught ourselves to hate each other. Now, why we hate each other? Like, why we want to hate each other? Why we want to be jealous of each other?
How can the Black community and the Latino community, how can we come together, Joe?
We are focusing on ourselves as a group, what we should be.
Latinos, Blacks have this crabs in the barrel mentality. And everybody want to be like, I'm the one.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing that you're greater with a team of people winning.
What if the idea of Black and brown unity is just another lie we tell ourselves to feel safer in a system that was never built for us? Survival ain't the reason they don't side with us. It's preference.
We are affected as a collective. And because we're desensitized, we separate purposely because we have no empathy for our peer group.
Here's the thing also. So what we're learning as Blacks, we're learning that more and more Mexicans are identifying with white. You know, I mean, you know, you usurp our culture, you know, you do what we do, you mimic us, you know, you parrot us, you know, you do the things we do, but you identify with white. And we're noticing this, we're learning this because it is in, you know, most of you guys signed applications. You identify as white. Birth certificates, you're starting to identify as white. You know, so it's a mindset. It's a mindset. So when Joe asks, hey man, we have taught ourselves to hate each other, that's not necessarily true either. You know, most of what we get from others is a learned behavior that you guys have picked up about us.
Are not better than anybody. There's no one community that we get to hold ourselves higher than.
You know, I was born in Mexico.
Listen to this.
But when I first came to this country, literally the people that I was warned against or warned from was Black people from the get-go. Before I even learned to speak English, I was told to be careful with Black people. Don't hang around them. They'll beat you up. They'll do this. They'll steal from you. All of the negative things that you could attach to a people. That's the first thing they told me when I came to this country is be careful with Black people. It wasn't be careful with white folks. It wasn't be careful with the Asians. Nobody. Just be careful with the Black people.
Hello and welcome back to the channel.
Wow. And the first Mexican lady said she didn't get the memo. She didn't understand. and we beg to differ. We think that, yeah, you understand, that is your behavior,
David Goggins and Tiffany Haddish, they both wrote incredible books, but did you know they didn't have to write a single page?
Race war with Latinos right now because of this Ashley Gonzalez thing saying that all Latinos are the same. And Latinos are now starting to clap back because now they're starting to make videos, talking about how, some black people, mistreat Hispanics or Latinos or are racist towards them. And they're starting to respond by showing them like, look, this is what your people do to mine. And the reason why this sucks is because now it's no longer about Ashley Gonzalez, right? She was held accountable, bro. Nobody's claiming that girl, bro. That is not a representation of our people in any way, shape, or form, right? But black people want to make it seem like that. These black people on the internet I'm talking about, they want to make it seem like that. So now Latinos are not even talking about Ashley Gonzalez.
But see, and that's another, that's something else y'all, a lot of Mexicans and Latinos have wrong, that the brothers and sisters on the internet are only ones pushing this or saying this. See, that's how we know that you guys are not really in tune. You're not vibing with us. The majority of us feel this way. We think this.
Now they're defending themselves because it's like, yo, how y'all gonna accuse us of being like this? But then look what y'all been doing this whole time. And things are just not looking too good because they want to show you like, nah, but look at what y'all doing.
I believe that man doesn't like black people either, because for as much as I've been scrolling the past few days, I have not come across one video of a black person trying to start a race war with Latinos. I have been seeing black people tell Latinos that you ain't white, and telling Latinos this is how that group of people feel about you. I have been seeing black people tell Latinos that what Ashley Gonzalez was saying is no shock to us. We've always known how you felt about us.
That's our truth. That's our experience. We're not trying to start no race war. We know war. We know war. That's not the case. We're calling a spade. And again, I think that most of the animosity coming from the Mexican/Latino communities is because blacks didn't go to bat for you guys. Didn't come and protest with you. And again, the reason for that is we see what's happening. You want to treat us a certain way. You want to disrespect us, be racist towards us, but you want our help. And so Mexicans/Latinos are feeling like, oh man, fuck that. Like, yeah, like we got to. No, we don't. We don't have to do nothing. We've been fighting this fight for a long time. Y'all new to this. We're not. And to boot, when blacks say something to everybody, y'all think y'all know everything. Oh man, we're talking about our experiences here. That's our way of trying to save you from yourselves. But then nobody want to listen. And then when this shit hits the fan and you say, all right, y'all, come on, help us now. We're like, no, man, we told y'all. Yeah, and granted, not all Mexicans voted for Trump. Granted, not all Mexicans are racist towards blacks. But when you guys when your people do something and it's wrong and you don't say nothing, it's condoning it. You're just as bad as they are.
And the numbers don't lie. People like him, they lie. Whether you claim her or not, she is one of you. And you do side with white supremacists and racism. Like I said, the numbers don't lie. We saw it in the Texas primary. We saw it in the numbers after the presidential election. You are how you vote, period. Sir, black people are not trying to start a race war. You don't have to get up on this internet and lie. All you have to do is say, I don't like black people, and leave it at that. Black people are not thinking about Latinos like that.
Yeah.
Once she was fired from the police department, black people moved on. Now, the local black people are still hunting for Ashley's head. But black people in general, Yeah, we moved on from Ashley Gonzalez. I know y'all like to think y'all are important like that y'all take up space in Black people's head like that.
No.
Sorry to disappoint you. Y'all don't. We trying to put food on the table. We trying to pay rent. We trying to stay out of the way of racist white people and you racist Latinos. Point blank, period.
Also, there's this thing, and Mexicans have this bad in Los Angeles and / Latinos. They make attempts to disparage Black men and women, like we're lazy, or we don't do this and we don't do that. And for whatever reason, well, maybe you guys don't know any better. Maybe you're ignorant of the fact that everything that you claim you're doing, how on a horse you think you are, we've been there. We've done that before you in this city. You know, we know what the experience is, home ownership, business ownership, you know, having community. We know. Like we also know how that stuff was destroyed from the outside in. We know about jobs being taken from us, businesses being closed or shut down because the bank want to give you a loan. We know about mass incarceration. We know about all that shit. It's nothing you guys have done that we haven't done already. And by the same token, well, as some of you like to think, you run LA, you're in for a rude awakening. That's not the way the program is written down. That's not their playbook for you to run nothing. Most of you guys don't understand that you're tools. Most of us, we're tools to the system. You guys think you're above the system. The system's not going to touch you. And we told you so. We told you it would.
Because it's all of our fault. See, the actions of all Mexicans is my fault. Just the same way, I guess, maybe we could do the same. Black people also voted for Trump. So should we assume that all Black people are not our ally then? Should we assume that all Black people are Trump supporters? Should we assume that all Black people are racist? No, right? And I wouldn't do that because I'm not racist.
You started off your conversation literally generalizing all Black people and then contradicted yourself and say, oh, well, what if we did that? That's literally what you did. I didn't know that we have beef with all Black people and all Black people aren't our allies. Hypocrite much? Then to turn around and say, well, all Mexicans are blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the hypocrisy for me. We are not in it. Why do y'all continuously try to keep pulling Black people in it? Fight the good fight. Do what you need to do. Stand up for your community. And, you know, I don't understand why y'all don't want to go back to y'all's country. I'm not even trying to be funny, but y'all always say that y'all have such rich culture and y'all so much better and where you're from is so beautiful and it's a paradise. So why not really try to like go home and, you know, really fix up your community and in your country? Like y'all's government, y'all's officials look just like you. So wouldn't it be easier to get through to them? I'm so confused by that because a lot of, and I'm not trying to be funny and I hope that this isn't offensive to anybody, but a lot of immigrants are always saying how their country is so much better and how their culture is so much better. So I don't understand like what's the issue? And just leave us out of it. Like, it's okay. Some of us do support. Some of us are rallying behind you. But as a collective, y'all don't do that for us. Y'all never have. So it is what it is. And more of y'all voted for him than we did. It is what it is. Spread love is the Brooklyn way.
See this? This is a 400-ounce bar of solid gold. Back in the 20s, this could...
The tension between the Black and Latino community needs to stop. And we need to be the generation to stop it.
We have our own.
Hard time seeing it, but the change, it starts with us. I love you.
Latinos have never needed Black Americans to force their racial biases on us. We have our own. We have been anti-Black all by ourselves. Latinos have been colorists all by themselves. Latinos have been racist all by themselves, way before they come to America, way before they ever have contact with Black Americans. You know what the difference is? normalized forms of racism, colorism, and anti-Blackness. What's normal amongst people in our culture, what's hush-hush, what's swept under the rug or not dealt with or just accepted, doesn't fly with Black Americans. And you just don't like the fact that a Black American will call you out on it. Because it's not normal. And it shouldn't be accepted, and it shouldn't be okay. So when you have people in your own community letting you know that they've been hurt or traumatized or discriminated by people in our own community, family members even, you need to listen. You need to listen instead of deflecting, because this comment right here is a total and complete cop-out. It's straight up deflection, and it is a bold-faced lie. Our racial biases, they start back home. They start in our own countries, in our own islands. We just bring it here with us. You just don't like the boldness of how Black Americans deal with racism. Normalized anti-Blackness is not a value. Normalized colorism is not a value. Sweeping things under the rug and not talking about them, that's not a cultural value. It's not. Yet it's something that you seek to covet and put above Black Americans. You need to stop pitting Latinos against Black Americans and recognize that the root cause of all of the issues we have across all of our communities is white supremacy. Recognize how white supremacy has operated in your own life and how it has afforded you white privilege as a white presenting Latino and given you a life experience that more Black presenting Latinos cannot identify with. And stop propagating the lie and the myth that we don't care about race and there's no racism amongst us. Because if that were the case, we would not be having this discussion.
Latino people need to start questioning the fact that y'all are racist. Y'all are racist. And if this hurts your feelings and it makes you uncomfortable, then it's going to work. I want y'all to understand that Black people didn't vote for ICE. You may see stuff on the internet, and that is the internet. That is for everybody. Racist comments happen to everybody on the internet, but I want y'all to know how much we did try to fight. We do not want deportation for y'all, but I bring up one instance that the Black and the brown people have racism within our community. We're supposed to have solidarity and we do not. And majority of the comments came from Mexican people saying that I moved to an all Mexican state and that I was supposed to learn Spanish. But when people were telling you to learn English, that was offensive, which I agree. I don't think anyone should have to learn anybody else's language. So how are you forcing that on me? I'm supposed to be your ally, but you don't treat me like an ally. You act like a colonizer and you tell me I moved to your state, but this is the native state. I think that Mexican people have forgot this is native land.
Ashley Gonzalez, the racist police officer from Texas, sadly does represent a very large part of the Latino Hispanic community. And I do want to preface this video by saying that I myself, I'm a Mexican woman and my husband is Black. And I've grown up around Mexican people my whole entire life. And I've noticed a pattern of Mexican people, and I'm only speaking on Mexican people now because that's what I know, are racist. And I think that this comes from wanting to be accepted so badly and wanting to feel like because they're a shade lighter than most Black people, that somehow they're better, that somehow, you know, they're part of the good ones.
It'll get them in the door. It'll get them more accepted, you know, or it would help them to avoid the issues they see Blacks go through because we're darker.
And don't get me wrong, racism exists everywhere, and in Mexico too. But in Mexico, I think it's more of a classism issue as opposed to a race issue. But that's a whole nother video. And growing up around a lot of Mexican people my whole life, I have heard many, many, many anti-Black comments made by people that I know, people that think that I'm going to agree with them, and then they find out that I am married to a Black man, and then they're like, oh. And I know exactly where this stems from. This stems from colonization. This stems from engraving in our minds that Black is bad, that Black means that you're not equal. And that's something that happened during colonization. I'm not excusing the racism that exists in our community, but I understand where it comes from. And the moment that Hispanic people admit that they do deal with a lot of anti-Blackness is a moment that they're going to start to learn how to decolonize their minds and question as to why they have certain biases or as to why they believe in certain stereotypes, because to most of them, it's just like clockwork. They don't even question it.
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I had to catch myself. I was getting a little defensive in my mind when I was watching all these videos of Black people that obviously were very offended by what Ashley Gonzalez said, which, as they should, but they were saying that that's why they don't give a fuck about what's going on with ICE, that's why they're not going to fight our fight, that's why they don't give a shit, that's why they voted the way that they did. So, like, all this back and forth, like, racism, right? And I was like, okay, well, obviously that's not all of us. But then I took a step back and I'm like, okay, the people that are the most racist in our community are the fucking loudest, okay? And they're not held accountable by other people like myself as much as they should. So if that's how Black people feel, I don't blame them. Does it bother me that that's the perception they have of us? Yes, but at the same time, it's the truth. Mexican people are fucking racist. And don't believe the lie of minorities or other brown people can't be racist against other minorities, because we see it all the time. And all that, it just comes down to whiteness and wanting to be white and wanting to, you know, the way that we have been as a society made to feel like if we are not that, then there's something wrong with us. So
okay, I'm gonna leave it there. It was pretty long. I didn't want to go that long, but it was interesting to say the least. For a lot of us, that's not answering questions. I mean, you know, we've already had the answers. We already understood what is going on in our communities, especially when it comes to Mexicans and Latinos. We see the sickness. You know, we're experts at identifying it. You know, no one's a greater analyst or expert at racism or detecting it than Black people. No one. You know, so it's you know, it doesn't come as a shock to any of us. You know, what the shock is, or if you want to call it that, when we call ourselves shocked, it's at the audacity that, you know, that demographic or Mexicans, Latinos would say, oh, we're not racist. That comes as a shock to us because we see it. We see it, you know? So tell me, guys, you know, tell us what you think. Drop thoughts in the comments. Let us know how you or where you stand on this issue, as well as how you feel about it. Yeah, racism does exist, you know, between Mexicans / Latinos and Blacks, you know what I mean, on both sides. But Blacks, in terms of racism, wasn't something we were taught to be towards Mexicans. You know, that wasn't something that was a part of our makeup, you know, our experience. You know, we knew what racism was. We knew where it came from. We knew who our enemy was. It's just that through time, we begin to see others take on the same mantle, put on that same mask. There's a lot of history in terms of Mexicans' racism towards Black, especially in this state, in California and others. You know, you can go back 40 years, 50, you can go back 80 years. Well, yeah, you can go back, let's say 70 years, and there were, you know, college professors who spoke out against Blacks, who were racist, and they pushed that. You know, so again, this is something we know all too well. We know it when we see it. So to say, you know, oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about, not all men. Yeah, man, most of you are, because that's the culture. That's the culture. So again, tell us what you think. You know, drop your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how you feel about this piece. Again, we appreciate your participation and your viewership. Take care of yourselves and each other, all right?
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.